This is Kanzenshuu, the podcast, episode 447 for the week of June 24th, 2018. Welcome back, everyone, to Kanzenshuu,
the podcast,
an extension of the all-encompassing Dragon Ball fan site.
Kanzenshuu.
We cover anything and everything Dragon Ball GT in hopes of enlightening and a little bit of entertaining. Hey, sorry we took a little time off again.
Did we really?
Yeah.
How much time was it?
It was 3 months this time.
What?
I know. It was
No.
It was yesterday that you were here, Jeff, recording the last one.
feels like it.
3?
3 months.
It was 3.
Yep.
I mean, granted, Jeff, you went on a cruise.
I went on a cruise. I finished a school year.
Been busy.
Dear, it's been busy.
It's been busy for everyone. We have returned for the next entry in our Dragon Ball GT review of Awesomeness. Here, as always, Meri, hello.
Hi there.
You ready for more grand touring?
I am.
Actually, we're done touring. We're back
I'm a
home.
little sad about that.
And then the newbie perspective, Jeff returns from Ye Olden manga review of Awesomeness now into the Dragon Ball GT review of Awesomeness.
Indeed, and so far enjoying things as they are.
It's been weird. We're enjoying GT. That just leaves me. My name is Mike. I'm always here.
For what it's worth, I'm a little bit of a newbie to this as well.
Yeah, the span here.
I've only watched about half of GT, and these episodes we watched today, I've never seen before in my life.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's just get on into it. There's a bunch of news we could cover, but for these review episodes, I like to keep it just the review.
While it's fresh in our heads. Let's get it all out there.
So come back next time, maybe for some news coverage and all that jazz. But for here, we are going to be covering Dragon Ball GT episodes 28 through 31. Let's go. So for those of you perhaps joining us for the first time or joining us in progress, this is our Dragon Ball GT review of Awesomeness. We covered the entirety of the original manga over a period of years with our buddy Jeff here. Jeff came in as the new fan perspective, someone a little familiarity through fan subs and maybe some Toonami broadcasts. Here we've moved on to Dragon Ball GT, and it's entirely new for Jeff. It's halfway new for Meri, and I can't tell what my percentage is of GT when I'm watching.
I know, it seems like every time we watch it, you change the percentage of how much you think you've seen before.
Right. It goes up and down as I go.
I feel like you're 75% to 80%.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Completeness.
Yeah. So what we do is we go around and when we get those different perspectives on, have you seen it before? Have you not? What do you think about it, regardless of whether you've seen it? We give a little rundown of what happened in these particular episodes, and we chat about it, and we have predictions every time from Jeff. We check in on those predictions, see how well or how poorly he did, and then we make a new batch of predictions, and we check in on that again next time. We are well into the baby arc of Dragon Ball GT.
And we also have some ground rules.
We do. Meri, why don't you introduce our ground rules for the Dragon Ball GT review of Awesomeness in 2018?
So it is very, very tempting to compare what we're watching to what we've just seen in Dragon Ball Super. It's fresh in our heads. It's new content. There's a lot of parallels, but we're going to do our best to absolutely treat this as its own entity, as if we were watching this for the first time in the mid-90s without any context or interference from Dragon Ball Super. That being said, you may hear us reference some movies at some point during this review of Awesomeness.
The only thing I want to add to that is we should have finished the GT review of Awesomeness by the time Super came around. So we're kind of treating it in that in-between period where, yes, it exists. We're going to ignore it for now. There's plenty of time down the road. Super's not going anywhere. It is now a piece of Dragon Ball history. Plenty of time to do that analysis later on. So let's just get into things here, folks. Dragon Ball GT, episode 28. Goku returns. All of Earth is my enemy? So Goku, Pan, and Trunks have returned. The first stop is at Dende's with the Dragon Balls. They have a conundrum of wishing Goku back to his adult form, but that's just going to result in another explosion, right? They're not going to worry about that right now, so they hand over the ultimate Dragon Balls. However, Dende has been infected, but they don't know when they fly off. Satan has been hiding inside Boo this whole time to avoid danger. There's a kind of a riot outside his home here. An egg of babies has been inside Boo the whole time too, but Boo wrapped it up, and it's one of those, Boo's magical, so it doesn't affect him.
Although in his words, he said, it wasn't yummy, so I didn't eat it.
Right.
Which is totally Boo.
Meanwhile, Goku and Pan go back home. but things are a little strange at home. Gil senses danger at Capsule Corporation. He and Trunks have gone back there. Vegeta welcomes Trunks back, but he transforms. He is not Vegeta. He is baby Vegeta. And during this confrontation, Baby reveals that he laid an egg inside of Trunks during their previous encounter, so Trunks isn't off scot-free here either. In addition to Chi-Chi and Videl being taken over, Goten and Gohan are here and everyone's taken over. They begin attacking Goku and Pan. Satan and Buu show up to let Goku know that it is Baby who is controlling everyone on Earth. And at that point, baby Vegeta shows up, and that brings episode 28 to a close. We move on to Dragon Ball GT episode 29. This is super awful. Super Saiyan 3 is defeated. So following up on things, Buu saves Pan and Satan by turning them into cookies and flying away with them. Baby Vegeta uses the Big Bang attack, except it's kind of like a Final Flash hand motion, so who knows what's going on there. Evil Trunks arrives, and Evil Bra is alongside. Goku finally decides to bust out Super Saiyan 3. He's just been standing around in his base form this whole time, but his body cannot handle the power being so small. And then there's a really super awkward bite on baby Vegeta, and there's weird camera motion and fading, and things get a little strange for a while here in Dragon Ball GT. Anyway, all the evil people are lending their Saya power to Baby, and he is going to transform, and he in fact does transform. We now have Super Baby 2, not named in the episode itself, but that is the name attributed to this character and this form. We get an evil Genki Dama sort of kind of thing from all the humans on Earth. This is Baby Vegeta's revenge death ball, and he throws it down at Goku. Is Goku dead? Buu looks back and he says that Goku's ki is no longer there. Baby's plan is to bring back Planet Plant. Brings that episode to a close. We move on to Dragon Ball GT episode 30. Goku is annihilated. I'm dead.
What?
So am I.
Wait, what?
I skipped episode titles while we were watching. So Baby sits upon a throne somewhere, and he summons Shenlong from the Ultimate Dragon Balls. He creates a new plant, and the Dragon Balls scatter again. So Goku now is actually not dead. He's in this void place with Sugoroku Space in a board game kind of thing, kind of fighting to remain alive. It's basically Mario Party. Sorta, kinda.
But life-size.
Life. Goku has a difficult time dealing with the riddles here. Meanwhile, Baby and the others return to Capsule Corporation, and evil Bulma has a new spaceship for her baby-sama. There are more bad puns, and the dude's been cheating the whole time. And then Goku sucks his tears back into his face.
Out of context, that makes no sense.
Even in context, I'm not entirely sure that makes much sense. They still keep going with this game.
But there was a straw sound effect.
Yeah, I suppose. Baby gets ready to head to his new planet Sufuru. That brings that episode to a close. We go on to the final episode we are covering here on our review, episode 31 of Dragon Ball GT. What a surprise! Sugoroku Space's big collapse. So it's getting hot in here, and there's flames and lava and all that stuff. The die said owie. That's a little strange. So Goku attempts to throw the die back down into the lava again. It turns out they're not quite evil, but they're space tanuki. The joke is real this time. They're actually just space tanuki, and they were cheating the whole time. So the whole area starts to collapse. It seems they broke the rules. Goku decides he's just gonna blow them out of there. So the only thing Goku knows how to do is let's fire a Kamehameha and see what happens. Kibito Kaioshin comes in. Kibito-shin. No, they call him Kibito Kaioshin in the dialogue there. Teleports in and saves them, which is actually something he had done previously, but I guess the energy from the revenge death ball knocked Goku into this alternate plane of existence or whatever. So now Goku is in the Kaioshin realm, and they're going to train him. Baby has a whole line of people ready to go off into space. Everyone's incredibly excited to go off with Baby-sama to colonize the new planet. Buu decides to take on a face to disguise himself. And if you aren't paying attention, that is indeed the Barry Karn face that he took on back in Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball Z, I suppose, if you were watching the show. Buu cuts in front of Kuririn, and everyone's kind of in character, but also Baby infected, which is kind of fantastic. Like, he's afraid of his wife a little bit, and she's kind of disappointed in him. It's all kind of strange. But Boo makes the cut by cutting in line, so he's going to be going off to the planet with the other 99 lucky people there. So back in the Kaioshin realm, Goku is grinding coffee for the Elder Kaioshin. Goku isn't entirely sure if this is training or if Kaioshin just wants to drink coffee. My guess is that it's a little bit of both here. Meanwhile, up on Sufuru, Pan just wants everyone to shit. She has brought laxative pills with her and just starts throwing them into everyone. Her grand plan is everyone's going to shit out the baby eggs and they'll revert to normal. Gohan and Videl jump in, however. They are infected and they decide that they are going to, she's not going to play along, so they're going to have to kill her per baby's orders. Goku sees this all going on in the crystal ball. He stops grinding the coffee. What is he going to do? He's not strong enough. Super Saiyan 3 can't do it. He can't handle it in that body. He doesn't have the strength. Oob shows up. Everyone remember Oob from Dragon Ball GT episode 1 and the end of Dragon Ball? Oob is here. That brings Dragon Ball GT episode 31 to a close. Jeff, let's check in on your predictions from last time here on the show.
Oh, God. I know they're terrible. They're terrible.
I think your predictions are probably better suited for what are the next batch of episodes.
Probably.
We'll talk about that, though. So what did you say? You said they're going to be fighting Baby. There's no real way around it. I mean, that's less of a prediction, more just an obvious statement. Indeed.
Yep.
Goku fought Baby for a little bit.
And, yep,
that happened. But if they fight Vegeta, they're not going to want to kill him because he's just infected.
Yeah, true.
We got that.
It didn't really come up in conversation.
No, it didn't.
It kind of did. Goku was ready to take baby Vegeta on. That's when Boo showed up and Satan came. Was like, hey, actually, they're all infected. And Goku's like, oh, all right, I guess I can't just mutilate everyone.
But that had less to do with, we must protect Vegeta and more. He just flat out didn't know he was possessed.
Right. Jeff, you're saying, let's not forget our trio has the Dragon Balls. That's how we ended our last review episode. They finally got them all. They were heading back to space. You thought there was going to be some kind of connection between Baby and the Dragon Balls. You knew Baby was going to be there on Earth. You thought there was something more explicitly connected between the two. Not really. I mean, he used them, but his existence had nothing to do with them. There was really no connection there.
Yeah, no, not in the way that I think I was originally intending with that prediction. Yeah.
You said this is a perfect opportunity to go get the other characters. It was a little bit of a leading question. You actually did start with Boo. You're like, hey, where is Boo? And I was like, hey, remember there's also someone else from... And you remembered Oob's name all on your own. You did get there. We kicked you a little bit down the road.
That was a prediction?
A push and a shove, yeah.
Yeah. Right. You got there mostly on your own. And Oob did indeed show up at the very end here.
Smart.
That needed a push because there's no way I would have gotten that on my own.
Well, I mean, that was our own fault for having taken so long trying to get to this point in our review cycle, years and months in between review episodes. But anyway, where do we want to start? Can I kind of just start us off with the Sugoroku space thing? You could have had, just exactly as did happen, where Kaioshin comes in, teleports Goku away from the Revenge Death Ball. He could have just teleported Goku to the Kaioshin realm and everything else would have been exactly the same. We didn't need this span of basically 3 episodes of this board game thing. It served no purpose.
It was like 2 episodes, but yeah.
But you're saying that it's like flawed logic that he was there in the first place?
No, I'm saying that, so we saw Kaioshin come in and teleport Goku away at the very last second from being hit by the Death Ball.
Right.
I'm saying rather than, and then the Death Ball, its energy, like somehow transported him, warped him through space. Forget all that entirely. Just have him transport back to the Kaioshin realm, because that's where he ultimately ended up anyway.
That was really flaky at that point.
And everything in the meantime served no storytelling purpose.
It was just a means to get Goku out of the action longer.
Yeah, I suppose. That's what they're looking for.
Because I was trying to rationalize this in my head as well, and that was the only conclusion I came up with.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
I funny enough, it's funny when you have a fantastic or fantasy situation or fantasy world where even in that instance, you still have to have a line somewhere of believability.
Yeah, right.
Like the whole thing is preposterous, but we're going to cut the logic off at this one part.
But I'm saying a board game in an alternate half death realm. That's where I draw the line.
Right, exactly. Right. Where are your standards in this case?
Yeah.
I was okay with it relatively, even though it would have been nice to have gotten a better explanation, because I'll just fully admit that my brain turned off when he was explaining exactly why Goku ended up in this realm.
Yeah.
And I just flat out accepted it because pretty colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it also because it was a different setting, but I think it went on a half episode too long.
I think an entire episode or even 2.
It was really only around for 2. I don't know why he was in disguise as like the game master kind of guy rather than a space tanuki.
Instead of just staying as a tanuki. Well, because he had to have his son be the die so he could cheat.
Oh,
so I guess
gotcha.
If you're going to have one transform, you may as well transform 2.
Well, another thing, too, is that tanuki are traditionally pranksters in Japanese lore.
Sure.
And so if the tanuki was there from the get-go, that would have been just right there a sign that something's up. I mean, even though, granted, this is a gambling world and a tanuki kind of fits within that context, I do feel that if the character was that way, then maybe the Japanese audience would have thought right away something's up.
They would have gotten it right away. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, even we're thinking that, but it definitely would have. Yeah, sure.
But I find it interesting that when he introduces himself at first, he says, I'm Suguro the gangster. So he had to introduce that he was a gangster right off the bat. That to me was actually a little suspect from the beginning, because you just have a name, or you don't even give your name. You're just there being the guardian between heaven and purgatory, I guess. But the fact that he had to bring out his occupation, to me, sounds like he was trying to cover something up. So I actually feel that worked pretty well in that context.
I'm just going to read what Jake's explanation is for the characters' names, because he already wrote it, so I may as well just read what Jake explained. This name comes from Sugoroku, a Japanese dice game. Goro is an actual Japanese given name. Sugoro's son's name, Kogoro, is another actual given name and is simply the kanji for little added on to Goro, making it an appropriate name for a little space tanuki. So it is the kind of thing where in Japanese, there's enough of a hint there for you if you're kind of paying attention along with what's being said. But yeah, I think if they were explicitly shown as evil space tanuki, it would have been even more obvious than it was there. In general, I thought some of the gags in there were okay. I liked the puns and the riddles. Goku guessing his friends' names was cute, but there was just too much of it. I see your rationalization of keeping Goku away for a while. It was just too much for me, and it ultimately felt to me like within these 4 episodes, we only had about 2 episodes worth of content.
I agree.
That's interesting you guys say that, because I actually felt that, well, I don't know, if it was taken out or something else was there instead that made time move a little faster, it may have been more appropriate.
I don't know what else it would have done. That's the thing.
Well, it's not just that, but I think that something we can't overlook is just how serious of a situation we're in on Earth.
Right.
And it's just so bad to me. I want to compare it to, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the series, but please, it's been more than 20 years, Berserk, where at the last episode, everything, starting with
the original anime series,
the original anime, right. So everything goes to shit in like the second to last episode.
Right.
And then like all of your favorite characters are getting mutilated in horrible, horrible ways. Like, the whole realm of reality in that universe is just completely shifted, and it really just makes everything like just super depressing, especially because they end it that way. But when we're looking at, and not to say that exactly that happens here, but when you look at from the perspective of Pan, she is having to endure so much of this world upside down, where everyone she loves is really gone from their original persona, and it's hitting her hard. And you see that in a lot of instances where she's expecting them to act normally, and you would think she'd get the hint that the baby's taken over, but her character does not seem to ever want to adapt to this reality. And so because you're in this perspective, you're getting like this really horrible shift where really nothing is the way it is, and it just keeps getting worse. And I actually think that the silliness of this gambling world offsets that heaviness very, very well. And I actually feel that if they had done something different than what it was, it had to be lighthearted or silly in this way, because they're not going to go full berserk. They're going to try and lighten the mood as much as they can, but they're dealing with some really serious stuff happening on Earth, and so it had to really juxtapose that seriousness with something lighthearted. So I feel it did a good job in that respect, but I can see the perspective where it was just 2 episodes of really nothing happening otherwise.
Well, 2 things there. Yeah, I totally agree. Pan seems like like she's the only one who's acknowledged just how bad it is, but still wants to do something about it. She's the one who's dragging Boo and Satan along, kicking and screaming. Satan's happy to get into Boo and just be like, all right, peace out. We'll deal with this later, some other time. We'll find some other way to do it. Palm wants to get into the action there. But then to your point about it not getting too dark, I mean, that's the kind of thing Toriyama says, and specifically said with Battle of Gods when they were scripting that, is I can't let things get too dark. It still has to have some kind of levity and humor to it, combined, contrasting against each other, so it's not completely dark. And GT does have a lot of darkness going on right now. I mean, yeah, Earth is fucked and everyone's taken over, and that's kind of that, and Goku's not there. So,
but it's just crazy that just occasion after occasion, the stakes just get higher and higher. And that's what I actually really liked about this stretch of 4 episodes, is that you could get the sense that danger was going to keep going. And I mean, what a brilliant move to take the stance of, well, we've conquered Earth. Let's now throw in another planet. Let's expand, and not just start doing like a multi-planet takeover, but rather doing this like slow invasion almost, and then, strengthening the base, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a solid move, because that's really fortifying a position more so than, divide and conquer strategy that you would see with a lot of other bad guys, where when they have power, they, try and spread out as fast as possible.
I'm going to take over the universe.
And we've also never seen a wish like that before, unless we did in the movies and I'm just forgetting, but just that concept of make me a new planet.
Well, I mean, we got New Planet Namek, but I mean, that was kind of almost off screen in many ways. Is okay, we resolved the Namekians over there, and I think it's a good point. We have a very focused takeover and a very focused goal, and he effectively achieves his goal. He got his new power, and he's got his new planet, and he's gonna go off and infect the world starting here. Let's talk about Baby a little bit. So we have our new baby Vegeta design toward the beginning of these episodes here. Just kind of like silver, slick back hair. Still Vegeta's raw design overall, but like the crosses on the eyes. We do get a transformation into Super Baby 2 when the Saya power is kind of thrown into him here.
Can I just say, Mike, that I never would have predicted that in general. I did not think that we were going to have a form evolution of Baby at all through this process. I mean,
because he was just infecting, and then they would look a little different, the red eyes and that kind of thing. But,
right. But to actually take the cumulative power from everybody on the planet and then become another form, I would have never seen that coming. I was actually really surprised by that, and I think it's more of a naive take, because how many times have we seen that with other bad guys?
Right. We know Baby is the actual villain now, as opposed to when we had like Rild and who the hell else even was there? Legic and Mew. That was
right. Yeah, of course. Right. Exactly.
I already forgot about him. So it's the real antagonist here. So of course he's going to have a transformation. What did you think about the design for Super Baby 2 here? We got kind of like the shoulder things going off. His hair is doing more of like this forward swoopy thing rather than.
It was a nice callback to Baby's first appearance, right? Where his head form was a little swoopy.
Yeah.
And he had like the big shoulder pads, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with slightly underwhelming.
Yeah.
Slightly, because I was hoping for, I don't know what I was really expecting with that. I mean, I remember distinctly the pan up as we see what this new form looks like.
Yes.
And I was distracted by his quads.
Well,
That's where I stopped watching. It was like, oh, your legs are cool. Oh, wait, there's the rest of you. I don't care.
Yeah, that's funny, because I saw the muscles kind of in the same shape as they were panning up and going, okay, I'm not seeing much change here. And then all I'm seeing are these heightened shoulder blades, and that's about all I get. So, okay, it's an evolved form of this bad guy, but that's all you got? Okay, all right. I've seen it before. I think Frieza did it, right?
Yeah, it's not a Toriyama design, for sure. It's a little over-designed.
Yeah.
But there's something about it. Maybe it's the color scheme to me. I like the reds and the yellows.
It's very primary driven.
Yeah. Something about it to me just really works.
And it kind of contrasts, I guess, everyone else's color scheme, which is like secondary colors.
Right.
Because Gohan's wearing like green and purple.
And we get white shirts a lot.
White shirts with purple pants.
Yeah. Speaking of colors, something I've always noticed in the back of my head, but I only finally just put it into words today as we were watching this. Everyone's designs in Dragon Ball GT, it's some of the pastel-y colors, but there's always just a little bit of a change to them. Obviously, it's, we're doing character designs for a new show. It's going to look slightly different. Except for Boo. Boo looks exactly the same proportions and curves. everything about that character design for GT looks identical to how he looked in Z. And I think part of that is his pink color. It just, the way that contrasts with
and the
everything
roundness.
else.
I mean, you can't really make him angular.
Right. You can't do much else there.
Mr. Satan, however, looks pretty significantly different. And I commented on that. I'm like, did you just get even shorter?
Right, he's getting older every time we see him, so I think it makes sense.
He's like verging on an SD kind of character.
Yeah. I want to talk about voice actors a little bit here. We're not going to talk about Dragon Ball Super, but I do want to acknowledge that we're watching an older show here, and to still hear Joji Yanami as the narrator in his still prime at that point, and in particular Daisuke Gori here as Mr. Satan. It makes me long for the past of still having a lot of people either still with us, not ill, and then of course Hiromi Sudo, who is playing Evil Bulma. We're going to get more of her in the future, but also Bra over there on the side too, so kind of
I'm glad they remembered Bra existed.
Yes, everyone remembered. Eventually everyone remembered that Bra
and that
existed.
she was half Saiyan.
And can we say about Dragon Ball GT how they remembered how old Maron is supposed to be? Just saying. Can we talk about Baby's voice actor? I want to talk about Yusuke Numata here. Played obviously Baby when he was this little bluish globby kind of thing, but then will take over as the voice actor when he infects the characters. So we've gotten quite a bit of him before, but him in particular in Vegeta's body feels like he is really taking on this role as himself. So tell me about hearing Vegeta with this voice and just how he's kind of growing into and giving these really snide deliveries. What do you think?
There's only like one or two lines he delivered where I felt like he really nailed Vegeta. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he just sounded like a dude talking in Vegeta's body.
Right, because he's not really Vegeta anymore. He truly is Baby, but I feel like he's still got... I don't know, just the arrogance is doubling inside him there, maybe.
I would agree with that. I think, apart from just maybe like one or two lines, it did feel like a separate character. But I guess that's kind of the point when you have this complete takeover of this person's body, and then so much so that they transform. I think it makes sense that the vocal characteristic kind of matches that whole thing. And I just have to say, like, I think the vocal deliveries across these episodes has just been terrific.
Yeah, they're
actually really enjoyed.
Everyone's amazing.
Yeah, everyone's like, you can tell they're just pros.
Yeah, I mean, these are experienced pros doing years of this at this point. So, I mean, there's nothing bad I could say about the dubbing on this. At least the Japanese dubbing. Yeah, right. So no, it's just incredibly smooth. If anything, I just feel the animation I wish would be up to par a lot of the time.
Yeah, the first two we watched here were definitely a little blobby.
Actually, I like the first one. The second one was like, oh, it's a bad character designer whose name I can't remember. Triangle guy.
So, Meri, indeed, episode 29 was Masayuki Uchiyama again. It's like every time we have an Uchiyama episode, you definitely pick up on that.
Oh, of course I do.
And episode 31 was actually Tadayoshi Yamamuro himself. I feel like that was the best looking episode.
Right. Yeah, I feel like the bookends of what we watched tonight were like the better looking of the 4 episodes that we watched today.
30 was Takeo Ide, and then 31 was Yamamuro himself there. So it works when Yamamuro comes in the 90s anyways, and does a good cleanup job on the important stuff here.
I kind of don't dislike the big noses he puts on the characters in GT.
Yeah, I mean, part of that is also Kazuyoshi Nakatsuru's underlying character designs too, but I think individual artists and animators on top of those characters' designs do a little bit more or less with the noses at times. GT in general, I feel, has bigger noses.
Yeah, they do.
Let me ask you, and Jeff, you're not going to know this because you didn't watch this, the Garlic Jr. filler arc in the Dragon Ball Z TV series was not in the manga, it was filler. Was a mini arc where we effectively had all of our heroes' friends infected and taken over.
That thought crossed my mind. I was wondering if you were going to go there.
Yeah. So we've had this before, and even Dragon Ball Z movie 2 in a way. If you want to talk about Dr. Wiro taking over like Piccolo, that is very condensed. One-offs there. But Garlic Jr. in particular with the mist infecting everyone. Baby's laying eggs here, but it's still, our heroes and our friends attacking, kind of the sole person who's there and hasn't been infected. It feels a little bit of a retread, but to me it feels different enough, and there's been enough time in between that, all right,
and I think this was better executed.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more sinister, and it was just Pan. It's like, oh wait, no, was Goku there too? Yeah, it was Goku and Pan, because they were like, we want dinner.
Yeah.
And they're just ignoring them.
Yeah, that was kind of tough to watch.
Yeah.
I agree. That was awesome, though.
Hey, silent treatment, because, I mean, I'd expect Chi-Chi to do that, but not Videl.
No, of course not. But just as we talk about GT, rehashing the Sufurian revenge, I feel like your family and friends being infected, we've been there, done that before. It needs to be acknowledged.
But that being said, I think the first episode of the 4 was actually my favorite from like a pacing and mood standpoint.
Me too, because we weren't down in Sugoroku land.
Yeah. But I always love it when we deviate from the core team and we get to see the supporting cast. Mm-hmm. Giving everyone the silent treatment and then seeing Goten and Gohan show up, and you can tell they're not quite right, even though we as an audience know that there's something up.
Yeah.
What else did we see in that first episode? We pretty much saw everyone, right? Was that when we first saw Mr. Satan hiding in Boo?
Yep, that's where we got all that.
That was really solid
that
too.
Was super clever. I
Just
think
the whole episode from start to finish, I think of the 4 was the strongest because it nailed the pacing. It nailed the characters.
Was probably the best all around.
That's true.
Let's talk more about that first episode that we watched there, 28 was it? Just having Goku up there, it was that moment where Pan was effectively defeated. They were trying to dodge those blasts and Boo took her off. That's when Goku switches, all right, bitch, please, I'm gonna get serious now. And not even the transformation, but just when he, without looking, does the knockaway.
I love that. That was like one of my favorite animation moments out of the 4 episodes.
It was well done from a character dialogue delivery standpoint, even what little animation was in there. I thought that was pretty good. Just seeing Goku get serious, kind of going back to what we're talking about with voice acting, I did want to mention this. So we have Nozawa here playing little Goku, who is an adult, but is speaking with his child voice, but as an adult, versus proper speaking Gohan as an adult versus kind of like middle of the road young adult Goten. They're all distinct voices. They're all distinct deliveries. You can still tell who is talking by just listening here.
She's incredible. Mm-hmm. No, that was incredible. I have to give her so much credit for the amount of range she has and how good how good a job she does at separating the different characteristics of each character. Because yes, I could easily get confused between Goten and Gohan visually. Mm-hmm. So the voice definitely, I mean, in one shot, the only difference between Gohan and Goten was the direction of their hair.
Right. You're right.
I know which shot you're talking about, too.
Right, exactly. So the fact that the voices are different between them, I super appreciate that. But I mean, it's easy to overlook that sort of thing just because of how good it is. But yeah, worth saying, she does an incredible job with these characters.
Going back to animation, actually, because it's in and around this, I am a sucker for shots where the background is a little bit out of focus and there's a hand in the front of the screen. You only see like maybe 3/4 of the hand, like I'm about to fire a blast at you. I feel like even on bad animation days, the hands themselves are always really well drawn, and you got like a thick outline around that hand at the same time. That's my jam right there. I want to see more of that.
It kind of makes up for the rest of the episode. You're like, okay, I'm good now. I'm fine.
That was good.
Going back while we're talking about the first episode, I want to talk a little bit about Pan.
Okay.
How proud she is of herself for more than half of the episode.
That's how she sets up her return.
And at first it comes off as annoying. It's like, bitch, you didn't do all that by yourself. But then she keeps harping on it. It's like, oh man, she really is that proud of herself.
Yeah.
And no one cares because everyone's infected. So she's actually not really bragging to anybody. I feel a little bit bad now. I'm
not gonna disagree, but I am gonna just put it out there that I really did not like her writing or the writing of her dialogue in just this episode, because I felt it unjustified a little bit for her to be so cocky about it, I guess. But at the same time, if I had seen it just after that last episode where they had succeeded and were flying away, then maybe that would feel a little bit more justified, I guess. But what really bothered me, it wasn't even that. I thought that was fine. What bothered me was that when they finally get to it's the scene where they get to Dende, and she's saying that she really wants Goku back as an adult more than saving the Earth now that they have all the Dragon Balls. I saw absolutely no justification for that position.
Like, she should know better at this
whatsoever.
point.
Exactly. It
Goku
made
was
no
a logical
sense.
one there. He's like, I can deal with it.
Yeah. Because he's seen some shit. Because, like, he knows that it's just due to the virtue of his age, I guess. He gets the long tail game. He's like, this state of mind is just temporary.
I mean, going back to the Boo arc, his long tail game there was, I mean, yes, I'm strong. Yes, I can defeat Boo, but we need the kids to be able to do something, down the road. I'm not going to be here forever. So that this feels like a natural continuation of long tail game Goku. Yeah.
Right. So for Pan to just say, to me, that felt like a waste of minutes there, where it was just, filler basically in like that small moment because she didn't have any other, there was just nothing else to basically pad that episode out.
All right.
Maybe she's just acting as a proxy to the audience members who are like, I'm sick of this kid Goku. Give me the grown-up Goku.
What I was going to say is I think going back to Meri, your rationalization there is we need time to just effectively see Dende and Popo not reacting to much. Just kind of, we get this one brief glare from Dende, but you can kind of just write it off as,
I know I did. I have to admit, I did not expect Dende to be evil.
Me neither.
So I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what?
But the more that they don't overreact to things, and the instant that the Dragon Balls are handed over, we get that like kind of like half shaded thing going on. Like, okay. I guess I should have seen this coming a mile away. And excuse me, I did. I saw that he was going to be.
Oh,
but I don't get it. How is it possible that person got infected when they're not on Earth?
They're on Earth or just up in the atmosphere.
That's high enough. I guess apparently not.
I mean, Baby can sense things. He's just going to go up there and...
But that's not explained to the audience.
I guess that's okay. We don't need everything handed to us on a silver platter.
Baby got everyone. At this point, the entire Earth. The entire Earth is my enemy? Question mark, exclamation point.
But you would think as Kami, he would know what was coming at him.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be able to see all that stuff, but that doesn't mean that he's strong enough to...
He's still just a teenage Dende.
On the other hand, we do know that Popo has mastered and achieved Ultra Instinct, and he should have been able to fight off...
Obviously.
Baby, our problematic savior up in not heaven.
Can I then...
yes, please, let's not talk about Popo anymore.
Let me add to this, though, because... to that vein, we don't see Dende getting infected. We don't see the rest of Earth really getting infected.
Right.
So I got to say that's a bit of a nice surprise because you really have no, I mean, you know that people are getting infected. This has happened. I mean, Vegeta obviously is, and there's that car crash where, in the previous episode where they know that this is a problem that's going to spread and whatever, but you don't see the actual process happening. So, difficult for me right now because 3 months later, I kind of forget that whole thing and then have to come into it.
I mean, we were seeing Baby going in and out of people when Goten first showed up and he was just taking over the regular folk. And it seems like enough time has passed. He probably took over the entire Earth. Okay, sure.
So that surprise that comes in when you see that everybody's been infected, that I think was really effective. To the point where...
Baby was effective.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt that was really believable. Just because of the speed in which everybody was infected. By the time they got back, it was already too late. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Are we still okay with having fun with our evil friends and family?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Do they look cool? Are they fun to watch this way?
I don't say anything, so it's a bit of a killjoy in that way.
I mean, we get Gohan and Goten a little bit early on.
There's only so many evil smirks we can do.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else I would want out of them.
That's a good point.
Because if they acted more evil, it wouldn't feel like them.
Right. Which is why I like the Kudadin and 18 and Maron there. They're in line. He's still acting like himself. Like, oh, I can't wait to go off into space with Baby-sama, but I'm still scared of my wife.
Is that your Terry Clayson impression?
Oh my God, I guess it was. Evil Bulma's going to be pretty good. So just hold on tight for that.
I do love Evil Bulma.
That's going to be fun. I guess let's talk about Oob. So shows up out of nowhere at the very end here.
I was surprised.
I mean, yes, that makes sense. So we know we still have some other friends out there. I mean, Tenshinhan is a character. Yamcha is a character. Oob is a character. He kicked off Dragon Ball GT with us. The end of Dragon Ball was, here is the reincarnation of Majin Buu's spirit. This is going to be the thing that Goku...
New hotness.
Yeah. And here we are 30 odd episodes later, and now Oob is back. I guess it makes sense. We have our villain transformed up to this horrible state? Is this the place and time for Oob?
I want to know where he's been hiding.
What's he been doing? How did he not get infected?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, who's his voice actor?
Oob is played by Atsushi Kisaichi. That is a hell of a name.
Well, I just have to say that it was refreshing to see that. I at first noticed that Oob is back. My first thought is, oh, what is he going to sound like? Because last time we saw him,
it was the first episode of GT. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and in that first episode, he was a kid. Still had the kind of kid.
He's the same.
He's roughly the same age.
Really? Same voice actor?
They make a point to say like, oh, Oob is now bigger and older, or however they phrased it here. But I mean, or maybe Buffer. I forget exactly.
Burly or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that was it. So maybe he's just continued his training in the meantime as Goku has been away. A lot of the people that we're hearing from in GT here, Kisaichi in particular, as well as Numata, who played Baby, they all did incidental roles elsewhere in the Dragon Ball franchise. So Baby's voice actor, Yusuke Numata, he played Ikose, he played Jewel, he did Gregory Ashley and Kai in Super. He did Robber, Shopkeeper. Like, these people do lots of one-offs, and they're finally getting a chance to do a little more here in GT. One other voice actor I do want to mention is we have, I hate to phrase it this way, but we have the B tier voice for Kaioshin, does Kaioshin only in GT, and then I think in Super, not in Kai. Kai was the original Yuji Mitsuya, but playing the B team coming in for Kaioshin is Shinichiro Ota. He's not as good as Mitsuya, but he's perfectly serviceable, and he's always there. Like, even nowadays, he's always there ready to take on the role of Kaioshin. So that's kind of strange to me. Like, he's the backup voice actor. He just continues to be there. I guess when they can't afford Mitsuya, I don't know. Or when he's busy.
Between this review of Awesomeness and the previous one, I'm definitely feeling like, these batches of episodes are actually better than I was expecting, especially considering how shoddy things were maybe a dozen episodes ago. Right. This is really refreshing.
Yeah, as we were getting to Mew, kind of the head of the Dr. Mew stuff, we were really checking out at that point.
Yeah, I was like,
Metal
oh my
planets,
God.
And it just we were done with all that stuff. And like that, the series really did kind of take a turn in its storytelling here. And we mentioned this last time, but it's really curious how GT abandons what it initially set out to do, which was be a space adventure, and we're back on Earth as a fight show, and suddenly it's more interesting that way. But it just kind of works out.
I should be disappointed about that. It's like, damn it. Well, I applaud them for trying to do something different, and it just didn't work, and they're resting on their laurels again. But it seems better that way.
Yeah.
So I'm a little sad.
Yeah, I agree. I'm internally torn on, I wanted something different, but I'm enjoying the safe storytelling at the same time. I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure what to think about when it comes to these episodes, because I think I was the most positive when it came to the Mew stuff. And then coming into this,
you were either 100 or 0% on Dr. Mew at different times.
Yeah, it really depended. But I mean, with this stretch, it's been great. Well, I just want to mention in the last episode, that I was not a huge fan of the whole idea of Pon with the laxatives.
It was weird.
It was weird.
That's the perfect plan for someone her age.
It's not really thinking.
Makes sense to her.
It's like they would have pooped eventually, and even then, they wouldn't have pooped out the eggs.
I mean, they all started having a terrible reaction to it. Where did she get it, for starters?
The thing is, though, yes, we have no idea where she got those pills. I have a huge problem with that. But I actually really liked the idea that people are all pooping themselves on this planet, because that to me is so Toriyama. So I thought that maybe that was like, hey, can you throw in something, and then like that's his contribution.
Just real quick, speaking of Toriyama, I think the best joke in everything that we saw so far was Kaioshin going,
there is no God.
There truly is no God, and them reacting like, is it okay for us to say that? That was great. Anyway, continue.
That was wonderful. Yeah. But I just don't understand how she could throw these pills out and magically. I mean, look, I understand that
everyone's just slackjaw standing there.
She's part Saiyan, so it makes sense if she were to like throw a pill at each person and get it.
Yeah.
I would have been much more accepting of that than just throwing out a handful and like thousands are raining from the sky. Like it made no sense to me whatsoever.
I guess your line of disbelief is pill popping. Mine is board game death dimension.
The line of disbelief has been challenged so much at this point. It's like a rubber band that just keeps pushing back and forth.
It's totally true.
Yeah, that was weird.
Do you want to make predictions for next time? So we've left it where we've got this new planet, Sufuru. Baby has effectively enslaved Earth. He's even got his sexy evil wife there alongside with him. New spaceship, new planet. Goku is off in the Kaioshin realm, but Oob has appeared at the last second to rescue Pan, and he looks like he's going to challenge Baby, do something there. So that's where we are. Where do you see this heading next?
Well, I could make a huge prediction at this point and say that, I mean, as impossible as this is, but let me ask a question first. The Earth Dragon Balls, those are gone, right? Like those are destroyed, like not in existence anymore?
Well, Dende is the current god of Earth, so he's alive, but he's infected. So, I mean, if we're going to go with unbelievable logic, I would assume Baby would either, have them locked up or destroyed, or if he even knows about them. I don't remember what the status of having wishes. I don't think they've made a wish on the Earth Dragon Balls. This is the problem where we watch too many months in between things. Theoretically, they exist because Dende is still alive.
Okay, right. So, but they couldn't use it to save the Earth because they were Earth Dragon Balls.
Right, because the Ultimate Dragon Balls, the Black Star ones, those are the ones that were used to originally make that wish. They did bring them back, but then Baby used those to wish for his new planet, and they've scattered across the universe again. So we know that Earth is going to explode, and they don't have those Ultimate Dragon Balls anymore.
But could they use the regular Dragon Balls to get Goku back to regular form?
I think their logic is no, because the Ultimate Dragon Balls were used to make that wish in the first place. And they can't use just the lowly Earth Dragon Balls to override the wish of these more powerful DragonAls.
So maybe you see where I was going with that, where they would get the Earth Dragon Balls to get Goku back, and then he would be better to train to then take over, or at least in Super Saiyan 3 form, be better than... Baby, but
because his handicap right now is child body, I can't sustain Super Saiyan 3.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we saw earlier on he can't teleport in this form. So yeah, it's tough.
And we can't get a Dragon Radar for the intergalactic Dragon Balls because whoever would make it has been infected.
And is Gil dead?
We haven't even talked about Gil.
Gil is dead.
Gil is dead.
Like for reals?
Gil seems to be dead.
I'll make a prediction that he is not dead. That he's not dead. Like maybe
He's
Trunks
just off.
Look, if Trunks can fix a car during a what is it called?
Look, it took me 20 years to realize that in the eye catch that Trunks fixes it on the B side of the eye catch.
This is one of the funniest things that happened during this viewing session, by the way, was Mike noticing that Trunks can fix a car.
And for me, it's like, well, shit, of course he can, because
I mean, yeah, obviously he can, but I didn't piece together that's actually what is happening in that. Like, I always knew, the car breaks and then comes back to, but Trunks is specifically there fixing it in the eye catch.
So he could theoretically fix Gil, which means they get their Dragon Radar back.
Trunks is infected.
But Trunks is infected.
Yep.
So right, my prediction of get the Dragon Balls and fix it completely out of the water.
Go
can't
off
go
into
that
space
direction.
again for 30 episodes.
Can't. While Oob is like pressing for time or whatever. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I mean, obviously Oob is going to stall for time while Goku trains, and so I can only imagine that we're going to have a lot of fighting between Oob and Baby while Goku is training. It's just interesting though that once all of these beings on Earth have contributed their evil or power or whatever to Baby.
So everyone, we have the 4 half Saiyans that contributed their Saya power, which we're not talking about Dragon Ball Super, but we are invoking Battle of Gods, which was released before Dragon Ball Super and branded as Dragon Ball Z, so we're allowed to mention it in our review. The Super Saiyan God ritual, it seems very familiar to what happened here. But yes, so the Saya power came in to pump him up to Super Baby 2, but even everyone else, the infected people on Earth, they donated their energy, and that's how he did the Revenge Death Ball in particular.
So it's safe to say that basically all beings on Earth, except for Baby, have any sort of power to them.
Yeah, everyone has some amount of ki to them. That's how Goku was able to create the Genki Dama that defeated Boo. Mr. Satan helped. So even if it's a little bit, but they're contributing something. And maybe it's revenge power that they're contributing at this point. Who knows?
Well, it's interesting because since Oob is going to be fighting Baby, and Baby has all this concentrated power. first of all, I mean, if you destroy Baby, I would think the power would stay within Baby, and therefore, like, all the Saiyan power that has been taken from them probably can't get returned back. So that can't happen because our characters need to get their power back.
Kind of going along with that, it seems like Baby's the kind of thing where as long as there's a trace of him somewhere, he seems to be able to, like, come back out of it. Like, is there a true singular Baby entity? I don't know the exact answer to that. I feel like there is, but all of the eggs and the traces of him effectively serve as the remains of a baby too.
But this makes me think that if it works like a disease or a virus where when you have an antidote that, you know, you still have it in you, it's always going to be there, but it's just not active. It's dormant, right? So the same kind of thing could happen here where they're able to have an antidote of some kind or just some way to negate the effects of Baby. And so while they kill off Baby, something has to happen to their power, but they in turn still have the eggs. It's just the eggs don't do anything, or they just, you know, whatever, evaporate, destroy themselves, who cares? But so I'm just like battling with the idea of can they kill Baby or not? And I just don't think that within the span of the next 4 episodes. Yeah. Are you saying 4 or 5?
We are going to do 4 next time. We're going to do episodes 32 through 35. Yep.
So I just don't see in 4 episodes that Baby's going to be destroyed just yet. Like, I just don't see it because there's so many of these questions that have to get answered. My faith in them answering those questions sufficiently is, you know, in question. But I mean, it's just so difficult to really go beyond. Oob's going to fight Baby, and then while that's happening, Goku's going to train. And so then Goku has to enter the fight at some point.
Yep.
But in kid form, because he can't transform back to an adult. No one has the power to do that. I hope it's more than that.
You're just explaining what we know is going to happen. You have to get crazy. What are your crazy predictions?
My crazy prediction would have been get the Dragon Balls and get Goku back, but they can't do that. So, I mean, I can't really I mean, we have, as you've mentioned before, there are other characters. We still have Yamcha and whatever, but I mean, granted, they're probably all Baby's minions at this point.
Right. Maybe they're infected. We haven't seen them. Yeah, who knows?
So let me make one crazy one and say that maybe Baby's not dead, but Planet Plant? Right?
Well, he said he was going to make a new planet Plant, but then he ends up calling it Planet Sufuru. So.
Okay, yeah, so that was weird. So Planet Sufuru, I'm going to say, is not going to exist at the end of the 4 episodes.
Okay.
I don't know what happens to all those people. I hope they get back, but I'm going to say that Planet Sufuru is gone.
Okay.
Earth is fine, obviously.
Earth is going to explode again. We have a year before Earth explodes.
Yeah, so I mean,
we got to go get those Dragon Balls again.
This is so tough.
Gotta find those Dragon Balls.
The only other thing that I could see.
Don't stop until you get them all. All right, I'll let you talk.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. The only other thing that would be practical at this point, and I would think would be phenomenal if this actually happened, because if Planet Sufuru is just like Earth, then you move all the Earthlings off of Earth onto Planet Sufuru, Earth explodes, but Sufuru is the new Earth. Because why not?
There you go.
I mean, if it acts the same way, then
good.
Whatever, who cares?
So you're predicting that it explodes, or everyone moves there, or both?
Oh, man, if I got to choose between one or the other, I'm going to say they move off and Sufuru is the new Earth.
All right.
Because why not?
There
I mean,
you
it's not like there's anything on Earth that's attached to these characters.
That's the creative thinking I need, Jeff.
Well, I had that thought. As these episodes were ending. It's just like they really don't need Earth at this point because this other planet kind of makes it look like Earth. Although, funny enough, you know, we have to, like, if we're going to connect this to our current reality where we think of, like, you know, are we going to colonize Mars and all that, and who are they going to take, and, you know, they have to go up to 100 people in line.
Well, Jeff, the Royal Space Force is going out there.
Oh, man, what a scary thought to watch that. I mean, that was, like, chilling just to see that scenario happen because, you know, maybe in our lifetimes we might see that when it comes to Mars and all that, but, like, I think it would be safe to say in the cartoon world here, let's escape reality. But Sufuru's the new Earth would be a really interesting prospect. I'll go with that.
All right. That sounds good. I guess that's going to bring our review here to a close. These were Dragon Ball GT episodes 28 through 31. As we mentioned, next time on our review, we will do another 4 episodes. It'll be Dragon Ball GT episodes 32 through 35, continuing onward into our Dragon Ball GT review of Awesomeness. It was great to have you guys here for this. Meri, thank you, ma'am.
It's been great revisiting this, I have to say.
Revisiting again for the first time.
For the first time. I go into it kicking and screaming, and then we finish, and I'm like, that was not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Jeff, thank you, sir.
Of course.
You want to plug anything? You're here. Might as well.
Yeah, we will have Low Fidelity coming back soon. It's been some time since the last episode.
But you figured out what the problem is. I'm so glad, but I'm so angry.
Well, So let me just give some background on that. We had some audio issues with the last recording, which is fine because I think it was a bit too ambitious, but there were some audio glitches, so we couldn't really make much out of that. We will take care of it and put something out. I'm going to take my microphone today and bring it home just to see if I can put something out.
Take my microphone and go home.
Well, just to see if I can put something out in the interim, just to have something for our listeners and play with a new format. Maybe I do some reviews of some new stuff that's come out that I've listened to and make that like mini episodes in between. So that might be a new thing that can help pad things out. But I do want to return to form and put out the episodes that we promised we were going to put out. So that's in the making. But in the meantime, if you want to listen to the episodes that we do have up, you can go to our, many places you can follow us. We're on Twitter as @Lo-Fi Podcast. We are on Reddit, which is /r/low_fidelity. And of course, you can find us on iTunes and our YouTube channel as well.
Podcast on YouTube, because apparently people listen to podcasts on YouTube. Been putting it there for years, and people keep listening, so I'll keep putting it there.
It's been great, and looking forward to hearing what people have to say about these episodes when we get them up.
Nice. Well, that's going to bring it to a close. So, www.kanzenshuu.com. That is kanzenshuu.com. We got a lot going on right now. It's actually New Translation Central on Kanzenshuu. Stacy wrapped up her first formal long-form translation on the site. I think we mentioned it last time on the show, and it was indeed ready, so if you didn't get a chance to read it last time, it's an interview with Kazuhiko Torishima. Great stuff there. Julian sent me a text as we were recording earlier today. He finally wrapped up his translation of the Akio Ioku interview regarding the new Dragon Ball Super movie. So that entire long form thing will be going up on the website. Lots of good stuff going on there, and man, the wiki is going well. We're gonna do a little inside baseball, I think, about that in the coming months, just catching people up on what the progress is there and some fun things we're learning, things going great over them. So excited. Everything's going well for Kanzenshuu. Everything's coming up Millhouse in 2018 here. So check that all out. I have been Mike. I speak here for Julian, for Jake, and for Heath. The website, I already gave it to you, kanzenshuu.com. This was episode 447 of our podcast. I will see you next time for 448. Everyone have a lovely day, lovely week. See you next time. Blah, 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 blah. This is Kanzenshuu, the podcast, episode 3. Nope, it's 400.
Oh, Jesus.
Womp, womp.
That many.
Change that right there. Blah, 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 blah. This is Kanzenshuu, the podcast, episode 447 for the week of June 20... June.
Wow, Mike.
June.
This is... Nope. That's why I do the blah, blah, is like, it's that quick little voice warm to... This is Kanzenshuu, the podcast, episode 447 for the week of June 24th, 2018. That'll do just fine.
That was lovely. I didn't even notice.
Complete with editing.
I did it
sound
last
effects.
time, the previous episode too, and I was really angry with myself.
That's it, Mike. Let's be fair. That's one of those phrases where if you recorded it once, you could probably just drop it in every episode you ever do.
I have done that. There was something on a recent episode where I forgot what I did. I think I said I was going to say the URL of the website, and I didn't. And I went to a previous episode and I sampled that and put it back into the next episode. So
editing.
Clever.
Magic.
Yeah. All right.